Alright, let's talk about revolution. Let's say this is much later in the game, and we've got Azure here, and they're at 8, revolt. In spite of all the soldiers that are there, maybe we just had a ton of supply and demand. You'll see later in the game, demand tends to pile up more than supply because all the supply cards are off on ships being shipped around. So let's say it's the supply and demand phase, and we're drawing supply cards, and we draw 2 meat, and then we draw some demand, and we get some wheat. So I have a match. I have 2 red matching 2 red, so that means they met their own demand. Those go away. These go away. That was 2 matches. So now we go up to revolution, but that's 1. 2, we went all the way off the card, which means Azure has declared independence from the crown. I do the following. I flip the card, so instead of being struggling for independence, they are now a rival to the royal port. We then wipe the supply and demand. We kill all of the soldiers. They get wiped out in the revolution. They're all gone. We go down to any ships at port. Blue still had a ship. That ship is destroyed. And then we flip Azure over. So now it's independent. It goes back to, now they're a rival, but they're a pitiful rival right now. We can tell from this coin that now they're independent. And in future turns, anybody who wants to dock, even Blue, who was governing, if they want to land, then they have to pay one to the treasury in order to dock and do anything. If this card, later in the turn, there's more supply and demands meeting, goes all the way through, boom, 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 they get to the point where they're a threat, and it goes off of that, then everybody loses. That's one of the ways you can lose. Another way, there's a similar card here at the Royal Port at Queens Bay. If this card goes all the way down through, again, supply and demand being met, there would also be taxation, but it flips over, so the pirates we have here, instead of being pirates, we flip it over, and they then become invaders. If the invaders card then goes over, I'd also flip Queens Bay, and then it's got a skull at the bottom, which means it's blockaded. Any ship that wants to dock would then lose a soldier every time they wanted to dock, which is pretty deadly, and it's hard to win the game at that point. If I go all the way off the card again, then the invaders have taken Queens Bay, and the game is over. The last way that we can lose is if all of the ports rebelled, and these guys became independent. If all of them become independent at once, then the crown is overthrown and we all lose.